Welcome back everybody. I hope you're all excellent. In today's video, I want to put together a little tutorial on how you can program your Poly Digit as a multi-effects processor using an external Midi pedal. I'll be using the Digit together with the new X-Sonic Air Step. This is kind of twofold. I want to show you how you can create your own custom presets using multiple modules with Digit. And I want to show you how much you can cram into a single Digit or Bebo preset. Let's do it. To begin, I'll show you how to do this for a single module, and then we'll expand that to multiple modules. At the moment, I have 3 modules loaded up. I have a stereo reverb, and I've got one of the Lexicon 300 Hall Reverb IRs loaded up, which sounds like this. Which is just lush and gorgeous. And you will notice a few things. From my input, I'm going into a VCA and then into my stereo reverb. At the moment, the VCA is just passing my dry signal, but we are going to attach a Midi CC block to that so that we can turn the VCA on and off, and in doing so, turn the reverb on and off. The reverb is then going from here to the brand new wet dry blend block. This is the stereo blend block, and you can see my input is also being fed dry to that wet dry blend. In the wet dry blend though, I have everything set to 100% wet. I've just basically gone through most of my presets and included one of these blend blocks so that it gives me the option to run the way I'm running at the moment, which essentially is kill dry mode, or if I wanted to run this in front of an amp or another effects processor and I wanted some dry signal blended in, I could just simply go into here and adjust this signal A/B blend as I like it. But at the moment, I'm running this in a parallel effects loop, so I want it 100% wet, and you just heard what it sounds like. So let's do this. Let's go to the input and output modules, and we're going to set a Midi CC, and let's drag that down here because we are going to connect the Midi in function to this module, and then this module I am going to connect, you can see I'm using the multi-touch, to VCA 2. Now what we need to do is set the Midi CC number accordingly. I'm going to set this to Midi CC number 1, and you can either drop and drag this and get discrete values, or you can use the fine knob over here, and you can see the CC number is like 1.32. It hasn't been quantized, but that is going to correspond to CC1, which corresponds to this particular switch on my Air Step. So let's have a listen. If I turn this on and off, it should toggle between the reverb. And that is going to be the basic process for any module that you want to be able to toggle on and off. I've programmed the foot switches here to send CC1, CC2, 3, 4, and 5, and they toggle between CC values 0 and 127, which are going to correspond to just a simple on and off. You could set other CC values in there so that you don't turn the VCA all the way down or all the way up. For example, if you wanted like more effect or less effect, you could use it that way, but I'm using it to toggle effects on and off. So now that we've done that, I'm going to show you a more stacked preset which makes use of multiple foot switches and multiple modules. So building on that relatively simple example, I've got a more involved preset going on here. There's far more modules going on, but the same concept applies. You can see here, I have a VCA, a stereo reverb, and a stereo EQ chain together. They are connected to Midi CC block number 1, and that corresponds to Midi control change number 1, which is this foot switch on the Air Step. So essentially that will turn my reverb on and off, and I filtered the low end and the high end out of the reverb using a parametric EQ. Let's hear that. And then I can turn it on and off with this foot switch. On foot switch number 2, that is corresponding to Midi block number 2 over here, and I have a VCA, which is turning the looping delay dry signal on and off. I've also got an LFO connected to the looping delay just to modulate the delay line a little bit. Let's hear that. And that, together with that big Lexicon Hall reverb IR, is perfect for lush guitar solos. For foot switch number 3, that again has the third MIDI block set up. That's going into a VCA and the time stretch algorithm. I'm going to go to a clean sound and you can hear this. This is kind of giving me a pseudo like crystallizer style effect. I love the decay on that one. I've got another foot switch set up with another MIDI CC message, which is hooked up directly to the time stretch reverse. So let's do this. Let's just turn all of this on, go back to that dirty sound and play around with it a little bit. Beautiful stuff. Let's hear a similar example, but using the Bebo firmware. Let's take a look at some similar ideas, but using the Bebo firmware. I'll just finish off by going through this preset that I've made. I've assigned foot switch number 1 to the looping delay. I've got a pair of delays set to different delay times, panned hard left and right. With the second foot switch, the third foot switch controls the through zero flanger. And then on foot switches 4 and 5, I can activate the granular block and control its freeze function. Let's hear them. You could, of course, connect some expression pedals and take that to another level, but I just really like the delays and things like the granular, doing an octave up. Some of the more vanilla stuff, there are, of course, synthesizers and a whole bunch of other weird and wacky modules you could play around with, but hopefully that gives you an idea of how much you can cram into one digit or Bebo preset and how you can go about controlling it all via MIDI. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you have any other comments or questions, let me know. Till next time, stay safe and be excellent to one another. I'll see you then.